I just received the Narwal Freo X Ultra Robot Mop and Vacuum. Thanks so much to Narwal for sponsoring this video, but it's time to put this thing to the test against the 6 biggest challengers I could find in the home. It's time to get this thing set up. Let's get started. So some of the features we're going to be challenging is the 8,200 PA hypersuction, spinning and scrubbing mops, the 7-week revolutionary self-empty solution, 0 tangling floating brush, auto mop washing and drying, and the millimeter tri-laser obstacle avoidance. I think it has its work cut out for it. Let's see what's inside. And here we have the Narwal Freo X Ultra. First thing we need to do is pop on the different brushes here on the bottom. And here's a glimpse of that new 0 tangling brush. And then here we have the triangular mop pads where there's no gap in between them. It's gonna last about 3 months for these pads, and then they easily pop off just like that to be replaced. And then here we have the new dust compression bin. So this is gonna hold up to 7 weeks of dirt. Very excited to test that out. Now, if you don't want to use the disposable dustbins, you also have this dustbin tank with filter that you can use as well. And here it comes with 2 disposable dustbins. So you can just simply remove this, keeping your home very clean without any dust leaving the compartment, and then you can replace those as needed. Now down here, there will be a bin that you need to clean up every once in a while. So that is where it's going to clean the mop pads and then exchange the water and everything. So that just slides in and out. And then up here we have a touch screen to be able to quickly turn on different cycles right from the base station. And then here we have our dirty water tank. So all the water that's done is going to come in here. And we have the clean water. So you're going to just fill this up before you start the mopping. And then in here it comes with cleaning solution. We just need to remove this top cap. And then here we can just slide it in and press it into place. Next, we're going to find a location that we want it to stay. If you move the base station, you will need to remap the area. So find the spot that you want to use in the beginning. Now we're just going to plug it in, open the Narwal app, and get it connected. Next, we need to map out the house. So it's going to drive around and use the LiDAR detection that it has on the top to be able to make a map of your home. So any room that you want it to go into, make sure you open the door. You can always add more to your home later if you don't want to add it now, but let's go ahead and do that. So we're just going to enter the device homepage and tap Start Mapping.
Mapping started.
Now when mapping, if you have any windows that it's going to see, it might get a bit confused, so I would recommend closing your shades while it's doing the mapping, or it thinks another room is outside. All right, so it took just about 15 minutes. We now have a map here and we are ready to get cleaning. So you can edit the map later, you can add rooms and all kinds of things. So I'm going to be doing that. But now let's go ahead and see what we can do. So instantly we have the option to vacuum and mop. We can vacuum then mop, vacuum, mop, or we can customize what it's going to do. You can see here during the mapping, it even mapped out where our couches are, certain things. And so if you move things, it will automatically adjust and reorient and try and drive there. Here you can see it found a few things that were in the way. And so each time you go out, it's going to do better. Now it's time to put it up against the first challenger.
Here we have the 0 tangling floating brush versus long-haired redheads.
Now before we put it up against the challengers, let's get a baseline of how this challenger has performed against other robot vacuums. So here we have a robot vacuum. Here you can see it left some dust, but we're interested in how much hair it has caught. So these are gonna catch a bunch of hair, but let's check inside here under the rollers. And there you can see that both of these rollers have a ton of hair that is there. So I have to come in here, clean that up every so often, and it's such a pain. Let's check another one. And here we have the original Narwal Freo. Let's see how it does. And here on the original Narwal Freo roller brush, you can see how much hair gets caught in there. And when this happens, it just makes it so the brush isn't performing to the fullest, and it takes some time to clean out. Now let's run the Freo X Ultra. And here is a look at the finished room. It looks amazing. So here on the bottom, there's no hair caught there, and I do not see any here. Usually we have a ton of hair in here. Let's dive in further. So here you can see this gets a bit dusty, so we can just easily wash that off, but there is no hair on that. I am blown away. And for the third test, I have cleaned out all of the brushes in the home. So here we have a bunch of hair on the floor. I kind of broke it up because usually you're not going to get a ton together. So let's see how well it does picking this up and putting it through the Zero Tangling brush. Once it picks up all the hair, it still takes a minute for it to get out of the brush after it goes through a bit. And then as what's happening underneath is that slowly moving over to the side of the brush near the suction of the vacuum, and then it's pulling in that into the dustbin. So here, let's let it finish up getting up the last of this hair and see what it looks like underneath. And after cleaning all of that up, let's take a look, and there is no hair on the Zero Tangling brush. We of course have to investigate a little bit more. Turning this around, I don't see any hair on there, and it is so great that that has now all been pushed in the dustbin. I don't have to clean up any mess. Definitely another win for the Freo X Ultra. Challenger number 2 is one of the biggest challenges I have with robot vacuums and mops is when there's so many toys on the floor. I don't want to have to clean them up before I send out the vacuum because it most likely will get stuck and I have to go and fix that and do the cleaning later. But with the Narwal Freo X Ultra, it has tri-laser optical avoidance. So it's going to be able to see these smaller objects and avoid them. So let's go ahead and test out how it does cleaning the rug over here and avoiding the monster trucks. At first it was a bit shy. I thought it just might completely avoid the area, but then using the top, front, and side laser, it detected the vehicles on the floor and was able to navigate around them, getting as close as it possibly could and moving on to the next one. Now it may roll a vehicle or two out of the way, but the goal is for it to not get stuck. Now, if objects are too slim and to the floor, it will not see them. Well, I'd say that definitely passed, so as long as it's bigger than this, it's gonna have no problem. Time to move on to the next challenger. The 7-week dust compression bin against dirt, dirt, and more dirt. So let's check and see how the Narwal Freo X Ultra is picking up the dust. So here you can see quite a bit of dust in there. Now one thing, this is much bigger than the previous Freo to store dust itself. So it's definitely going to be great to have 7 weeks of dirt inside. Now it's hard to recreate 7 weeks of dirt in a day, but let's clean this room, this room, this room, and this room. And it probably has been a few weeks since we vacuumed. Now before it docks and does its dust compression, let's go ahead and see what the bag looks like. So here, it's pretty full. You can see a lot of dust in there. You can even look in there and see how much dust there is. So let's put this back, and then once it docks, it is going to compress all of that into the bin.
Hair compression started.
Now that was way quieter than other robot vacuums that have the big dustbin that it empties into. Let's go ahead and see what that looks like now. And from before, it has compressed that quite a bit. You can see it's bunched up a lot more now, so it's able to fit a lot more inside the bin. Now, a huge benefit of having it compress inside the dust bin is there's no extra dirt that leaves the vacuum, because on the other vacuums that do that, I always find pieces of dirt that it has left over, and that also allows for other dust and molecules to get out, where here everything stays contained within the robot, so it's much more sanitary, and then you can easily remove the disposable dustbin and just throw it away, or emptying the other dustbin is definitely going to be better without having extra dust in your home and that super loud sound. And in the left corner, we have 8,200 Pascal of suction power. And in the right corner, we have magical moving sand. Don't let it touch the carpet or it will be stuck in there forever. Freo X Ultra features a 8,200 PA suction power, or Pascal of suction power. Now that is pretty impressive. That's much better than the previous model and other robot vacuums out there. Now, one of the demos they showed me when I was introduced to this product was it was able to pick up a bunch of marbles. Now, typically I don't have a bunch of marbles on my floor, but I was thinking of what is the best way to show or try suction power. Now, it's been able to clean up a ton of dirt, more than we can see, of course, but one of the worst things to ever vacuum is this kinetic sand. It is so sticky and goopy, and it just kind of gets suctioned into the carpet. So we're gonna go ahead and see if the Freo X Ultra has enough suction power to clean this up off the carpet and the LVP floor over here to fully clean up the home. Let's start with cleaning up the magical sand on the hardwood floor. Now, through the app, you have the option to set 4 different suction options. Here we are using the super suction option, and it did a great job picking up everything off the floor. And now let's test the suction power on carpet. Now, as I mentioned before, this stuff is very heavy and dense, so it just really seeps into the carpet. But after 2 passes, it's gone. Wow, that did a great job. Let's take a closer look. Here we cannot see any of that sand left over. Now, the longer you let this stuff sit, the worse it's gonna get. So clean it up right away. And here we can see how much weight it added to the dustbin. Now, dust is typically very light, and I can tell it's definitely getting really deep in the carpet because there's so many little dust particles that it was able to pick up. And now, active Dirtsense versus the kitchen table. This is by far the busiest and dirtiest place in the entire home. We got all kinds of dirt down here. We have all kinds of different smush sticky stuff and everything in between. Now, this is where we really need to have some deep cleaning. So this is where we're going to turn on the mop, and it's going to automatically fill up the mop pads, get them all nice and wet, come out here, mop, and then it's going to go back multiple times using its Dirtsense technology to make sure that the floor is as clean as it can detect. And then once it's done, it will go back, empty and re-clean the mop pads, putting them in the dirty water bin until it is clean. So let's go ahead and get a full cleaning under the kitchen table. Now, to prepare for the cleaning, we will need to fill up the clean water tank, and then we just need to wait for a spill, and we don't have to wait long. Around our kitchen table, pretty much every day, something is spilled. Now, all I need to do is go into the app and select the area I want it to mop. It will then wash its mop pads and begin cleaning that specific area. Once it has cleaned that area, it goes back and washes the mop pads and tests the water to see if it needs to be cleaned again. Once it detects it's still dirty, it washes its mop pads, goes back to the area and cleans it again. And then again and again until it detects that the area is fully clean. I saw it clean the area with the milk 6 different times to really make sure that area is clean. And then it's going to wash the mop pads, and they will be automatically dried so that they're clean and ready to go for the next cleaning without being mildewy or stinky at all. And here we're going to do vacuum and mop under the Freo mode. So here you can see there's all kinds of gunk and stuff on the floor, something that needs to be cleaned and mopped very often. And here we can see the kitchen table was no match for the Freo X Ultra. Now, the last challenger of the day is the open concept floor plan. Now, you may think that over time, the Narwal Freo X Ultra is going to get tired and just stop working like I might do on a typical day, but that is not happening. We still have 47% battery, and I have been testing this in all the rooms throughout the day. It just keeps going. Now, this is great because it's going to keep cleaning even when you are sleeping. Now, typically at night, we'll send this out to clean the entire floor. It takes a few hours, but it is able to get everything picked up and cleaned for the next day. So let's take a closer look at the auto mop washing and drying. So here it just finished mopping this area. And before it cleans its pads, let's see how dirty they are. So now it's gonna go back and clean these so that they're fresh to go out and clean again and test the water with its AI Dirtsense technology. Those are pretty dirty. And now that it has cleaned the mop pads, let's take a look. They are looking great. It's ready to go out and clean again.
Once it has finished cleaning a large room, you will need to empty the dirty water tank. You can see how dirty that water is, and it's pretty much used all the clean water up. And here's how much it's cleaned just in one room.
Now this is great because when it's done cleaning and it goes back to the base station, it's automatically going to dry the mop pads. So they're going to be clean and dry for the next day's cleaning, and there's not going to be any mold or mildew buildup on those pads because it is able to clean those. Now I mentioned before, you will need to replace them every 3 or 4 months, just depending on how much you use them, but it's great that you just have the mop pads always working and they are ready to go for the next day.
And now every day we wake up to a perfectly vacuumed and mopped floor.
So I'd definitely say the Freo X Ultra is able to beat this challenger as well, being able to completely vacuum the entire floor, then go through and mop the entire floor. I know that at the end of a long day, cleaning the floor sometimes is just too difficult. You know, I'm usually sweeping it up, and then my wife is usually mopping it, and she's a champ to be able to clean the whole floor, but this is able to do all of that in one robot. So it's so nice to have, and it even is able to clean up. You just need to fill and empty the dirty water bin. So after a full day of cleaning, I can definitely say that the Freo X Ultra defeated all of the different challengers that I put it up against. Now these are some of the hardest things that we have to clean around the home, and the upgrades to the Freo X Ultra are going to really make sure our house is clean. I love how it can now avoid all the different obstacles that I put out. I love how it is able to now compact so much of the dirt with the dust compression technology in its dustbin, and I like how you have the option to just use the plastic one or the disposable one. That's going to make it so no dirt or anything gets into your home as it's doing its cleaning. I love that it's automatically able to get the mop pads wet, clean them, and dispense of the dirty water all on its own. Now I'm sure you'll be able to get the auto water exchanger if you want to up your cleaning level, where it's automatically going to dispense the water through your lines in your home and then use your water line to fill up. So I've done that with the Freo. You can check out my video right here if you want to learn more about that. But if you have any further questions, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you want to get your own Freo X Ultra to help clean your home, make sure you check out the link down there. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.